An ancient world map. But where is Australia, America, and China? And what lies beyond those oceans? How did we get from the ancient understanding of our world to a modern one? It involved people daring to be different and taking risks. People went over the edge of their comfort zones in great voyages of discovery. Many people are still doing this today in areas such as space exploration, scientific research, communications technology, and, of course, in medicine. But what about people like you and me? We can be very comfortable and not dare to go over the edge of our comfort zone. Let me take you to Paradise Farm near Berry, and here we will meet Tim Francis.
My name's Tim Francis and I'm the owner and manager of A Taste of Paradise Organic Farm Limited, which is a children's charity based in Broughton Village in New South Wales. So that's about halfway between Gerringong and Berry. Our property's 100 acres in size and we run a wide range of enterprises here in support of young people who are disadvantaged or at risk. We see young people here from circumstances struggling with mental health issues, disability issues, drug and alcohol issues, behaviour issues, a big mixture of those, and we're all about providing some hope and some training in the farm and horticulture and agriculture particularly. My family history is a history of social justice, and I really felt that my comfortable life was not actually achieving the things that as a Christian I thought God wanted me to achieve. So I prayed about this and I was given a vision of working with young people in this sort of outdoor environment, and that was 25 years ago. And since that time I've spent 15 or more years in study, and the opportunity to develop or start the farm happened about 15, 16 years ago now. And since that time we've continued to work with many hundreds of young people in this environment. For many years we've developed relationships with organisations in our community from the Illawarra through to the Shoalhaven who are specialists at working with challenging young people or have the care of young people who generally in out-of-home care, young people who are no longer cared for by their families. The organisations that refer young people to us know exactly what we do here and the sort of outcomes that they can expect with young people, and that might be informal training or formal training with these young people, VET training. And those young people we have a phone call saying we have a young man or a woman who would appreciate these sort of opportunities, is interested in outdoor projects or animals, and then young people are brought here for part of a day or a full day a week or a number of days a week, and that is negotiated with the organisation based on the funding that's available, because these days we charge an hourly rate to try and cover some of the running costs of our farm, because the reality is that we get each week about half to a third of the running costs from funding that we need every week, so my wife's business contributes most of the rest of that. We're getting more and more support from our community as well, which helps us, but it's quite a big commitment for our family and has been for many years. But those young people will be here anywhere from, perhaps a couple of weeks if it's not their thing, up to, we have a number of young people who've been in the program now for 6 years, and in 6 years you can help them to make some good decisions and help them with some practical training that will hopefully enable them to move forward into employment in some form. And certainly it's not just the horticulture and the agriculture we do, but we do a lot of social skills stuff here as well. Currently, and we're producing about 4 dozen eggs a day. We need 4 dozen to pay for our feed costs.
Hello, you want to say hello? No?
The Wettistons helped to start the Murray Grey cattle herd. So these ones are pure Murray Greys, the cream ones, and the brown ones are crosses with Angus. right.
Aren't they beautiful?
That's the spot he likes, yep.
Yeah.
And he destroys my fences because he likes to get his horns around the wire and rub himself in between. So the farm's an upside down L shape that comes up like this and it goes across the hill in this direction. So our conservation project, that's about a fifth of the farm, is in this area here. Two of the endangered plants in here, one of them only occurs between here and Albion Park in the world, and we've got one of the biggest populations here. In here and around the farm we've planted over 10,000 trees now, and we're continuing to do that regularly. And the support we have from Illawarra Landcare and the conservation volunteers means when they come for a day, they plant 120 trees with me and put tree guards around them that we build, and that gives me a bit of a hand up, because you know, it's very difficult to spend time on conservation work that doesn't generate any income. So many of the young people that come to us have been through a lot of awful life experiences. So there's often sexual and physical abuse involved, and these young people no longer want to have a relationship with another human being. So we often start very, very simply in introducing them to a wide range of animals that are here, not many of them that pay their way, but it's based on building a relationship with an animal that responds to affection and doesn't judge. And for many of these young people, that's the start of the road back to contributing to the community again, and being a valued member of the community despite what the history is for that young person. So we see miracles happen out here every week in young people's lives by them relaxing and enjoying the experience of relating to animals, and that we build on that over a period of time to get them to a point where they are prepared to try that relationship with other human beings again. And that comes about by introducing them to great mentors and great people in the community who are able to be trusted. And it takes a long time to develop that level of trust again in a young person who's got a brick wall all around them to prevent them getting hurt anymore. We start off with perhaps connecting them with animals, and we build on that connection with animals to involve them in the management of the farm. So the feeding of the animals, the care of the animals, their health, the animal husbandry stuff is one of the ways that we start, and then we expand that gradually into areas that will give them more opportunities for practical skills in growing plants. We get involved in our vegetable garden complex. We get involved in what is a fifth of our property is locked up in a conservation agreement, so we have very significant native vegetation to care for, and this is expanding into areas that they've never really considered before. And why does Tim allocate so much of his farm for future generations that gives me no return? This sort of environment that we work in here, we request for opportunities to have really important questions. And I suppose for young people who've built a level of trust and this is their farm and they're very engaged in what's going on here, we need to be prepared for the tough questions, and they regularly come. We have an animal dying or an animal being born. There are lots of opportunities for conversations with young people there that you can't do in the street. You couldn't walk up to a young person and say, I've got something really important to tell you, unless you have a foundation of a strong relationship and a level of trust, and that's what we work on. Andrea and I employ 4 people on the farm to help me with farm tasks, but also to be involved in a number of them in mentoring the young people. These have to be people who have good experience working with challenging young people, obviously have to have working with children checks, all of those things have to be clear. And they also have to have a heart for working with young people. Never a day goes by that runs smoothly, so things change so rapidly out here. So where I might prepare half a dozen projects to work on with a young person, that can all go out the window depending on what's happened the day before for them, what's happened the morning they arrived, and those sorts of things. A lot of what happens on the farm takes me over the edge every day of my life, and I suppose it's living an exciting and challenging life, not knowing what tomorrow holds for us. I think there is no better place for me to be than right here at this time.